It's Sarah, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Sarah with an H?
Yes, sir.
Mrs. Sarah Shore.
Yes, sir. My husband recently.
How long have you been married?
2 years.
And you're 25 years old?
Yes, sir.
And you're Canadian?
Yes, sir.
My wife and I have found that Canadians, quite consistently, are dependably civil. Do you like living in D.C.?
We've only been here 4 months. My husband received his doctorate in June.
In what? And where?
In economics at Yale.
My father went to Yale. I myself am a Harvard man. Well, we used to say that Harvard was old Harvard when Yale was still a pup. What's your husband's name?
Paul, he came to D.C. to work for...
Sarah with an H. You might as well know that I have very little interest in the husbands. Over the years, I have been obliged to listen to a surfeit of secretarial matrimonial sagas, and I don't have the resources for it anymore. Were you at Smith?
No, sir.
Radcliffe? Wellesley?
No, sir, I'm not one of those.
One of those what?
One of those pleated plaid Ivy girls.
Ah, Catherine told me that and I'd forgotten. I'm sorry I wasn't able to interview you personally. I was bedridden that day.
Yes, Mrs. Biddle explained that you were ill.
I am always ill. I am ill unrelievedly. I have a list of ailments from here to Mount Rushmore. Occasionally I am ill horizontally, but mostly I'm ill vertically. Catherine liked you a lot.
Thank you. I sensed that at the interview. But I was quite surprised when she phoned last week.
Were you? Why?
Well, she had implied, very politely of course, that I might be too young. She said that generally you preferred older, more matronly women.
That has been my preference, because where I am is where they would soon be, and there might be a chance of some empathy. I tried to hire retired civil servants, but the last one was an unmitigated disaster. Stupid in the extreme. I had to let her go. Whereupon Catherine persuaded me to make an exception. Find somebody young, she said. Somebody young and pliable. Your last employment was with an advertising agency?
Yes, sir.
And what did you do there?
I was a copywriter.
You mean that awful blather is actually composed by somebody?
Yes, sir. I hope at some time in the future to write more seriously.
Do you know what's wrong with Winston tastes good like a cigarette should?
Yes, sir. It should be as a cigarette should.
Indeed it should. Our language is deteriorating at the speed of light. May I ask why you didn't apply to an ad agency in D.C.?
Well, now that my husband's finished school, I can take a part-time job, and this position looked very interesting.
I see. Now, this snow 2 weeks before Thanksgiving is most unusual. I was astonished that this morning Pierre got out early and shoveled a path across the yard. Did you meet the house staff?
Yes, I came through the kitchen on my way over.
They're a man and wife team, French. They came to us via William Bullitt. Bill Bullitt was the first American ambassador to the Soviet Union. Monique Cooks and Pierre Buttles and is my man Friday.
Monique asked me to bring the thermos tray.
Where did you put it?
Over there on the file cabinet.
No, we put it we put it, the tray and the mail have to be lugged over here by the secretary. I'm no longer able to climb stairs and carry things. I have a metal pin in my ankle. Did you bring the mail?
Yes, I did.
It's idiotic of me at my age, keeping my office over the garage, especially as I have to limp over the yard to get here. But houses are seats of domesticity. I learned very early on that any cerebral efforts don't have a hope in hell in the midst of the women and the ladies. Although I suppose that distinction, the women and the ladies, is outmoded now. You're shivering. Obviously you're cold.
Yes, a little.
You're cold because you came early and not when you were told to come. You probably wanted to make a good impression on your first day. You will find, if you stay, that I am much more impressed by the adherence to rules.
I'm sorry, I didn't want...
The place is heated by these hideous gas heaters. Now the operation of them, and this is most important, the operation of them must be left entirely to me. We will work mornings only, 9 until noon. If I arrive at 8:30 and you arrive at 9, then I'll have the heaters up and running. Oh, and I suppose I must add, since employers are obliged to set terms, that if you arrive at 9:15, then you are tardy and I will be irritable. Now, these damned heaters are as ancient as I am. The imbecile who designed them put the dials right down by the floor. I should go out and get one with wall dials, but I won't want to go to the expense because I don't expect to last much longer. In fact, I'm fairly certain that this is my final year